everybody, Steve here again, and want to do a little update. Remember my high-speed little box that I made and threw the PWM in there and all that stuff? Well, last night I took it and wife and I went out and tried actually taking the cell and doing a test on the vehicle from the vehicle battery power, and it was acting kind of funny. Basically what happened was, if you see these little connectors here, these are little crimp-on battery terminals, and I also use the same battery connector terminals on the inside, where you just bare the wire, you put them on there, and you crimp it on with little pliers, and I thought I was good to go. Really crammed it on there. Well, actually, some of them were loose, some of them came out, and so I ended up spending most of the night until about 3 or 4 in the morning going through and resoldering every connector. Also, then I went through as I was pulling off the connector that goes on the blades for the blade connections for the PWM. I ended up damaging one of the blade clips or contacts there. So I had to pull the PWM out, and then I had to do a bunch of soldering, which I don't do real well, so I got a lot of practice. And but the cool thing is that everything is soldered up right, all the connections work. And we're going to do another test and see if the box works. But anyway, going through the wiring diagram, I was really trying to figure out how much wire I needed to help install this system into my '97 Ford Ranger. So anyway, here is another PowerPoint thing to kind of point you in the right direction, and to help you. This is how I am going to figure out how much wire I need. Maybe there's another way or an easier way to use less wire. I don't know. But this will give you some ideas to look at and maybe help you install a system into your vehicle for informational purposes only. Recreation vehicles. And anyway, you got the idea. So here it is. Let's go. Okay, here it is. We're back and we're talking about the truck wiring diagram. And there's underneath the hood of my dirty truck. Basically, I have a '97 Ford Ranger, a little 4-cylinder vehicle, and for those of you that are not mechanically inclined, this big thing in the middle is your engine. Matter of fact, let's go over some of the components, and to kind of give you a clue, as I didn't really have a clue, so hopefully this will help. This thing right here on top of your engine, or at least on my engine, is the carburetor. And basically, when you're in the inside of your vehicle and you push down on the gas pedal, there's some kind of cable that goes through here to some kind of linkage, and so when you press down, it actually dumps more gas into your carburetor. Next thing we have is our air filter, which takes air from the outside, goes through this big hose, and goes in and meets into the carburetor. And basically what it does is it takes the air from the outside and the gas and mixes it together at that 14.7 to 1 ratio. So your vehicle can dump it into the cylinders and compress it, and the spark plug lights it and explodes, and somehow, by some force of magic, it makes your wheels turn. Yeah, don't get too in-depth about it. This is going to keep it real simple. Next thing we have in our right-hand corner here is we have the battery on my vehicle. We have a positive plug or terminal post. We also have a negative terminal post. Now, what else do we need? Oh yeah, we need a cell. Now in this bottom left-hand corner is where I'm going to put my cell. I'm going to put my cell, and I'm also going to put my bubbler up here. And the reason I'm putting it up here is because basically that's the only place I can put it. But the benefit here of putting it just before the radiator is that it will get all the air as I'm driving down the road, and it'll help cool down my cell. And it's got a positive and a negative plug. First thing that we want on the inside of our vehicle, if we look up here, we're going to see we're going to need that DC switch. And we're going to have to go through this back wall. They call it a firewall because if there's a fire in this engine compartment, that firewall will help protect you from being hurt. So, and basically you're going to have to run a line through this firewall. So be careful when you're drilling. I would probably suggest look for other holes where wires are going from the engine compartment inside of your vehicle. And again, this is for informational purposes only. In other words, you're totally liable for everything that you do. You can't blame me for nothing. Next thing we have on the inside of our vehicle is our PWM, or pulse width modulator. And that's going to be very important to regulate our cell so it doesn't get too hot. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to go to our positive post on our battery, and we're going to run a 10 gauge wire from there, connect it up to our switch, and then go to our PWM on the appropriate connector there. So read the instructions on your PWM. Next thing, oh, hey, how about a test question? Somewhere along this line, if you've been watching the other videos, between the switch and this positive post on our battery, what do we need to have? Somewhere around here. Or somewhere around here. Anyone? Anyone? No? Clueless? Okay. How about this? A 30 amp inline fuse. Yep. What we're going to do is we're going to take that 30 amp inline fuse, or you can take that resettable circuit breaker, which I didn't want to have to order and wait, so I just got an inline fuse. We're going to take that and we're going to put that over here, and one part of that is going to be screwed down to the vehicle chassis, so make sure there's some bare metal there for the ground for that. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is the negative line. So we're going to take some black wire, 10 gauge wire, we're going to run that basically the same route, go through the firewall and go to the other connector for our negative terminal or blade connector on our PWM. Then, with this dark red line, we're going to go from, this will be the adjusted positive power, going out, run that around the edge of our vehicle engine compartment until it gets to the positive terminal on our cell. Next thing we're going to have is this green line to kind of help keep it simple. That will be our negative line that goes around, follows the same route, and that will go to our negative terminal here on our cell. Next thing we're going to take is, we talked about, the cell's going to, when the switch is turned on and it makes all kinds of neat gas here in our cell, it's going to go through the bubbler. You definitely got to have a bubbler, some kind of flash arrestor too. I'm probably going to have a bubbler and a flash arrestor. Anyway, the tube from the bubbler is going to go and follow basically the same line as our air filter, this big tube here, and it'll be connected in there just before the carburetor. So that way the HHO gas, or the hydroxy gas, Brown's gas, whatever it's called, will be entered into the system, go into the carburetor, and it'll help burn our fuel more efficiently. And that's basically it. Now, this is the first wiring diagram that I've done, and if you've noticed, I don't have an EFI device on here as of yet, because I want to try this out just as it is to see if I get any gains on my vehicle, and then after that, if I need an EFI, then I'll purchase one and do another video and show you where I hook this up, where I would hook that up at. Let's see, what else is there? Oh yeah, you might want to have a voltmeter and an amp meter. And again, you want to follow the directions for those. The voltmeter is going to be hooked up to these two wires that is going to your cell, because you want to be able to monitor the voltage. And one of the leads connects up to the positive, one other lead on the voltmeter connects up to the negative. Be sure to read the directions for whatever type of voltmeter you get. Your amp meter, that's going to be hooked up to your negative line only, going from the power, and then the other one going to the load or the negative terminal of your cell, and you'll be able to see the amps. So that way, when you're on the inside of your vehicle, you can see if your system is pulling or drawing too many amps. You can use your PWM to regulate that. Okay, that's about it. So let's go to the inside of our vehicle, and here's hopefully what I'm going to do. Basically, I would like to put a switch right up here on top of my cheapy radio. Next thing I'll have is my PWM. After that, I'll have some type of voltmeter, and I'll have some type of amp meter. I'll probably stick with the real Barney basic cheap stuff, and then when I install a better system on the van, it'll get the real nice stuff. So that's basically it. At least, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, we'll see what happens. So that's about it, and I hope it helps. Okay, so anyway, that's the wiring diagram that I'm going to try to put into my vehicle, and I hope that helps you kind of get an idea of how you can look at the underneath of your hood in your vehicle and kind of figure out where you want to put stuff, where you're going to put your cell, where your battery's at, how you're going to route your lines, and kind of measure out how much wire you need and all that neat stuff. It's really interesting because if you notice, there's a big difference between looking at a wiring diagram that you can get off the internet and actually what it looks like on the inside of your vehicle's engine compartment. It's a very different layout. So that's something to I learned a lot, and I guess I have a lot to learn. So it's easy to entertain me. So anyway, yeah, I hope this helps, and we'll catch you later. Peace.